Evening and welcome to the June 19th Board of Selectmen's meeting. If you'd all rise for a pledge of allegiance, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Apologize for the late start. However, we did have an executive session earlier. And we must now add to the agenda the election of a chair pro tem. So I think we have to add that to the agenda first.
So moved.
Second.
I moved and seconded to add that to the agenda. All those in favor? All right, so what's the pleasure of the board? Election of a chair pro tem for tonight's meeting.
Nominate Dennis Abbott.
Second.
Any other nominations? All those in favor? I'm sorry to make light of that, but it's a little crazy sometimes. All right, Gordon is not with us this evening, so we will proceed. Any announcements? Would you like to go under the announcements?
We would. He's next. Appointments, so.
Oh, that's right. I'm sorry, you actually have a spot on the agenda, I apologize. So you're all set. This is the Old Home Days Committee, and they have a 50-50 drawing?
No,
No.
those are raffle.
It's a raffle,
The raffle for the fireworks for the children.
okay?
The winner gets to start the raffle by remote control.
Really?
They started off with remote control and they get a front row spot and VIP parking.
Just pick one?
Just pick one.
Yeah. Are they little round things?
They
Yes.
are little round things.
Okay.
You can open and read the winner.
You didn't get the one with the gum wrapped in it, did you?
Yeah, there is
I think he
something
got the
sticky in this one. I have number 242, and it looks like a Corey Fredericks.
Corey Fredericks
Fredericks.
is the one that's going to be lighting off the fireworks this year.
And the phone number is there.
Thank you.
Thank you
I
very
won't
much.
read the phone number.
Thank you.
Is that all we needed, or?
I think that's it.
Okay.
Everything is good. Everything is good to go. Your scheduled when's
6th and
July
7th
the
of
6th
July.
and 7th, right?
Yeah, all the parades can give me a call on my cell phone. It's 508-527-1851. It's in the booklets.
You have
I think we're all set to go.
a convertible limo for the Board of Selectmen this year, or
No, it's golf carts
golf
again.
carts?
Fancy dog.
It's yeah.
We'll dress them up
one and
for
the
you.
same, right? Yeah.
We'll dress them up for you, but no, we're all set.
And the parade is 10 a.m. or
Yes,
10,
the parade
right?
it starts at 10. Lineup is between 9:30, and if everybody can just avoid that area for about 2 to 3 hours in the morning and take alternate routes, that would be great, because a lot of people kind of forget that that's happening, and they get upset because they're sitting in traffic and they can't move. So,
And again, its staging is going to be on Straw Mill Brook.
yes, starting at Straw Mill Brook and then down to the high school. And
All right,
this year we've got the Grand Marshals is the basketball team.
Okay.
So, we're good to go.
All right. Thank
All right,
you.
Thank you.
See you there.
Okay.
And at dusk on the 7th,
Yeah,
Corey
Saturday night.
Fredericks will be hitting the button, right?
You
Yes,
got
he
it.
will be. Rain date is on Sunday for the fireworks.
No rain.
It was like a couple of years ago, then we'd be in trouble. All right.
Thank you very much.
All right.
Thank you.
Goodbye.
Hey, Todd, you can keep that box. See you next time.
I gotta get.
He was so excited.
Now you gotta bend over to get it.
We got a new winner.
And Pete is watching to make sure you clean it up.
Oh, Pete.
You still got Mr. Fredericks.
Pete, you're off duty, right?
All right. Well, we'll try to keep this going, even though there's some commotion out here.
Go back to the box.
Community Garden Committee project info. Amy. Lucarelli.
Don't drop it again.
This is when I wish I took a public speaking class. I'd first like to say thank you for seeing us. We've been meeting together for approximately 3 months. It kind of came together when I went to the grocery store and paid over $3 for a pepper. And I started thinking, how is this impacting other people with fixed incomes? I decided a community garden would benefit Waterboro immensely, and we were fortunate enough to find 5 like-minded people, 4 of who are here today. So we've been meeting for 3 months, and we've also been in contact with a gentleman who set up several community gardens in Maine. He said that later on, with your approval, if you choose to consider making us a actual town committee, he would come and be able to answer some more of the complicated questions on the legal aspects of it and how we need to set it up. So when we got into this, we decided we wanted to make sure that there was enough public interest in it. We started asking around, asking our friends, and people seemed really positive about it. So this past election day, for part of the time, we had volunteers who were going around asking people to sign a note of support, saying that they would support this and they would like it to happen in their community. To date, we have 140 signatures from people in Waterboro. We have 11 people who have volunteered that they'd like to be involved as well, which I thought was fantastic. It's one thing to sign a letter of support, another thing to say that they want to actually participate. 10 of those people, I went over door to door over at Applewood across the street, and they were all very supportive of the idea. Quite a few people were enthusiastic about it, and they would like to come over and do some gardening, with the hope that one of our plans is to build a few raised beds that they can come up to on their scooters and be able to garden, because the problem for them is bending down, getting the weeds, and even picking the vegetables. And they're also limited on being able to have gardens over there due to the water supply. They've been told no. A few things about community gardens is not only do they help you grow affordable produce, but they also help people who have no prior experience in growing learn how to do so. There's many people that get intimidated by the idea of growing their own vegetables. They don't know what they need to do, how much soil they need, what they need to add to it. So this will be a great sharing experience for the people who who are master gardeners that we have involved, and other people who have just lifetime experience. They also foster a sense of land stewardship. Our hope is that, of course, it would be on town land, and that people would be involved, and it would give them the opportunity to take care of town land and be a part of that. They also allow people from diverse backgrounds to work together towards a common goal. Community gardens also add beauty to the community. They filter rainwater to help keep lakes, rivers, and groundwater clean. They provide oxygen to the air to reduce pollution. And studies also show that crime decreases in neighborhoods that have gardens due to increased foot traffic and awareness. Some of the things that we have considered would be that we would like to offer volunteer opportunities to people that need to maybe do some community service time. Also involve local greenhouses in our effort, and hopefully we can get some of them involved and do some kind of cross-promoting if we can get some interest. We would like to fund it through grants and donations. We're not right now asking for any taxpayer dollars. This isn't anything that's going to come out of people's pockets. Unless they want money to come out of their pockets, then we'll happily accept that. We want to have a children's garden where the children can learn about horticulture as well, and where their food comes from. Other things that we would like to do is in the future possibly offer a farmer's market, build a few raised beds for the people over at Applewood, and offer some reduced rate plots for low-income families and people on fixed income that come through, and hopefully work with general assistance in identifying those people that need that. I brought a copy, yeah,
Both of them?
yeah, a copy of our last 2 meetings minutes. We had our last meeting last night, so I didn't get a chance to get those minutes out to you, but this is kind of what we've been working on so far. So you get an
You want me to give
idea.
you Gordon's for now? And then you
Yeah,
can
give
put it in
Gordon's,
his
yes.
mailbox.
Yep.
And this one is from the latest one.
That's from our May meeting. In getting together, we've also broken up it by interest into subcommittees of people who are volunteering right now to be a part of it. I think we've been pretty thorough. We've done about as much as we can possibly do right now. You know, discussing all the aspects and what we'd like to see and kind of envisioning the future. We're really excited about it and really hope that you consider allowing us to do this. We've also come up with a mission statement, which is our mission is to support and create opportunities for all the residents of Waterboro, Maine, regardless of circumstances, to have access to community allotments within their community. You'll get a copy of our mission statement, our subcommittees that we formed, which are based on fundraising, community outreach, project setup, development of a farmer's market in the future, and our creation of bylaws and application process. So, you know, Waterboro is a great community to be a part of, and we really think that this would add to it and help us stay great. And so what we would ask is that you make us a committee. On one of the recommendations that we've had was to be 7 to 11 people. It's a larger committee because there's a lot of work involved, and there's a turnover rate. You know, people are going to get burned out, and if we limit to 7 and 3 people drop out, that's a lot of work for the remaining 4. That was a suggestion by Mr. Meir, who set up community gardens. Also, we would like you to consider, we would like to propose putting the garden out by the parking lot and the land adjacent to it, facing the lake direction. It has great sunlight, it has parking, it has access. The people of Applewood are over here in their scooters frequently, and they can come over into the parking lot, and it'd be a great place. We'd be willing to consider other suggestions, of course. We just want to throw that out there. And we have a copy of our signatures that we have collected to date. I mean, we haven't,
We just have one if you guys want to pass it, look through it and pass it on.
I think it's encouraging, like I said, to have that many people volunteer in a short amount of time, to have that many people sign up. I think that shows us that, you know, we're going to succeed. And that's all I have.
The middle school was in here 2-3 weeks ago and was talking about potentially starting a composting project at the school, but they didn't know what they would do with the compost. Because it would be massive amounts of compost, perhaps more than you would need, but there's already a place to look at maybe
Yeah.
partnering with the school.
And that was part of our discussion last night, is compost, and also what we would do with our dead plants and things that we would need to compost come fall. It would be, I will add, we did research other community gardens. There would be a fee involved. What we had discussed so far for the plots would be a $25 fee, but $10 of that would be refundable if the people came and cleaned their lot off, meaning the volunteers don't have to take their time and come and clean off their lot. They take out, you know, the little plant markers, and it's ready to be turned over and tested for the next year, because we will be doing thorough soil testing. We will not be allowing the use of pesticides and chemical fertilizers. I'd like to try and keep it as natural as possible, and right now we are looking into different sources of water that we could use, whether we would have drip irrigation or hoses or rain barrels, and we'd like it to be kind of a model as well for other community gardens that would like to start up.
So the request of this, we'll call it organized informal group, is to become endorsed basically by the town as a committee under the town. Doesn't have to be necessarily funded at this point. It just has to be recognized that there is a committee, right?
Would the first thing be for the selectmen to authorize use of the land, a certain portion of that land for community garden? Would that be the? So is that something we want to put on maybe the next agenda? Is to vote on that and get an authorization to maybe. You want to stake out the, I'm sure this is something you want to start fairly small and build.
Yes.
But stake out a portion, we take a look at it, and maybe next week we can vote to authorize that to happen.
Yeah.
Then you're looking at that, then you're looking at, okay, tilling the land, you want to till it this fall, by this fall, right?
Yes.
Yep.
So, yeah.
No,
So you need to dig up dig up tree roots and stuff.
What plot are we looking at?
Right out back here, to the right of the generator.
Yeah.
Will they cut the stuff off, or?
Yes.
Yeah, so there's a lot of work
Yeah.
Yes,
that's
there
gotta be
is.
done.
Someone needs to get in there with a tractor and dig all the, first of all, just dig all those tree stumps and stuff up.
Well, I think, well, I won't take over, but I think we're looking at, really wouldn't be any planting until next year. It's gonna take all of this year to get it in place.
And fundraise, there's a lot of expense. We have to have fencing. We're required to have fencing. That's going to be a huge cost. Coming up with the size area. Right now, it would just be, we can only give a figure, a rough figure, because we have to finalize what the plot sizes are, the walkways, map it out, figure out, exactly what the square footage is going to be in the final picture. And we want to make sure that, as the other part that we would ask is that if we're smaller this year, that we would have some room to expand, so that we wouldn't just be limited to one small plot, that if more people showed interest, that we could add to it as well.
Great.
So next week we need to have on the agenda to vote to make it a committee, and then to allot some property out.
And the use of the property.
Yep.
And I don't know if it's possible to, I don't know how it would work, if the members that are already a part of this informal group would have to reapply for the committee, or if those people could just be appointed onto it.
I would say they just fill out the application and put that they're already on the informal committee, so that we know who's already been a part.
Okay.
I'm sure that there's got to be some small grants available too.
Yes.
In this whole area. This is kind of a hot thing these
Yeah.
days, and so you got a $1,000 grant.
Contact with the guy that set up quite a few of them.
He's going to
And
give us,
he said that when we get to the point, he can come in and tell us what grants to apply for.
what we need to do. I mean, like I said, until we get a committee, we're kind of limited right now. We can't fundraise because we're not really a group, and we can only kind of suggest what we would like, and so when he comes in, I think that will help too, because he wanted to wait until we're on the process of getting there, and then come in and speak to us, and as well as speak to you guys. And
So the first thing is to get the land authorized. Then the second thing is to credibility to the committee, so you can do a little fundraising.
yes,
And then you get it started. I'm just thinking of you get it started maybe next year and get it going. Then you can start looking at grants as to whether you possibly build a small greenhouse or whatever.
yeah, and there are some grants out there to help offset costs of setting it up to begin with. We're going to try and look and see if there's anything that can help us with the water problem. That's going to be another huge cost. Even if we get a plumber to donate some time, it's still a lot of money to try and run water out there, and rain barrels are expensive, and The drip irrigation is expensive. You know, we're blessed with volunteers, and now we need to go out and get some funds for ourselves.
And I will have to say, the members of the committee so far are very enthusiastic, and they are coming up with great ideas, including the children and the
Now,
school.
if we make it a town committee, so then when they do fundraising, it'll filter to the town, so we'd set up an account that's, when it comes to, like, if they did fundraising this year and wanted to expend some of those funds this year, how would we handle that? Because we didn't have a vote. We voted to accept monies,
Right.
so we can do that, but how do we, if they need to fundraise this year and do things, how can we get that money back out to
Well,
them?
that vote was to accept and expend, same.
Right.
So we're covered
So I
there.
think we may be covered.
Good.
Good work.
Great.
Great.
We'll put
exciting.
the item on the agenda next week to vote to endorse and create the committee, and then I guess if you could have a quick little plot plan of how much land we're talking about, then
Yeah.
at least we have something that'll go into the minutes that says, this is how much
Yeah.
space we're talking
Yeah.
about.
And probably get the volunteers to fill out some applications for the committee and get them to town hall before Friday, or by Friday, so that it can be
Process through.
for the agenda next week.
Okay.
Okay?
Thank you guys for your
Thank you.
time.
Thank you.
Have a good evening.
All right, moving along, hearing a delegation. Any one of the three of you would like to speak again, or we're all set? Correspondence, quickly down through this, there's a whole litany of them here. Treasurer's weekly financial reports, Representative Libby's June 8th and 14th newsletters, copies of letters from the town of Wells and Alfred regarding the York County survey on agencies, regional school unit number 57 assessment, Ecomaine recycling reports, there's a confidential letter from the town attorney regarding a consent judgment, motor vehicle agent report, Leavitt's Mill Free Health Center, 10th Annual Golf Classic and silent auction info, memo regarding the 12-town group meeting on June 25th, planning board June 20th agenda, and the tax collector's reports. And if anyone would like a copy of any one of those other than the sixth item that I mentioned, which is a confidential letter from the town attorney, please contact Christina here at the town office to get a copy of that. Reports and staff initiatives, assessing agent. I just saw him walk by the door there a minute ago. There
Jerry.
he is. Come on, Jerry.
You're on.
Perfect timing.
Yeah.
Oh, excuse me.
Didn't know it
Front
was,
and center, Jerry.
I didn't know the path was clear.
That was clear.
Yeah, it wasn't a few minutes ago when Todd was here.
Oh. You're all looking at the memo dated June 13,
Yeah.
which is how do you want to proceed? One at a time?
What's the pleasure of the board? We've got 10 requests here, or 10 action items that Jerry's presented to us.
They're all fairly self-explanatory. I would motion that we go with the assessing agent's recommendation on abatements for 1234, 1235, 1236, 1237, 1238, 1239, 1240, 41, 42, and 43.
It's been moved. Do I hear a second?
Just a second. I'll second it.
Seconded, moved by Tammy Jo, seconded by John, with regard to accepting all 10, right, Jerry?
Yep.
Correct.
Any discussion? Any questions on any one of them? total of all 10, Jerry, in your letter is
$48.35,
$4,835.
10 cents.
And this really is it, right? Nothing after this for
No, the
2012,
season is closed for,
So what's your pleasure, folks? You got any other discussion?
No, this was because overbilling, Jerry.
I'm sorry?
What was the reason for the abatement?
Oh, they range from mobile homes that have moved out of town. One caught fire, one was a duplicate account, a few businesses closed, one was an error in the lot size because of a survey, so. They're all items that if they would have come up during the year, they would have come before the board as a normal abatement. They just were gathered together because the collector this time of the year, Sharon, looks at the accounts, and a lot of that material that you're looking at is from her files where these files gather dust and they stay on the tax records, and they need to be done away with. No manner of speaking.
Okay, thank you.
Anything else? Been moved and seconded to accept the assessing agent's recommendation. All those in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Jerry.
Thank you.
Town clerk, probably not gonna walk in with a report. Tax collector, motor vehicle agent, selectmen. Anything down at that end?
This Wells, if I may go back to that.
It's one from Alfred, too.
Yeah. Did we vote on that?
Yes.
We did, okay. I don't remember it.
It was last week, you weren't here.
Oh, okay.
That's why you don't.
The interesting piece, which I think Alfred brings up a good point, we voted in favor of the county funding last week, but the way that it was presented, and which is addressed by Alfred in there, in their correspondence, is that it's an all or nothing vote for the 29 towns. And I think they bring up a good point. Do we get to say all or nothing on every other item that is funded by the county?
Yeah.
Right? If we don't use, and I think their suggestion was, if we don't use the county jail, do we have to pay as much as those municipalities that do? So I think they've cracked open a can of worms with that approach. But
I just can't imagine doing it. Why would they come up with this gimmick now?
well, the
I know
gimmick,
they're against the food shelters and stuff, but
the gimmick, I think, and Tammy Jo can speak to that because you're on the budget committee, right?
Last year, 2 years ago, there were several entities that had put in for funding through county government. The finance, or the budget committee approved it, and then when it came time to make the expenditures, the county commissioners only gave them partial funding and said, we're not funding anymore. This past year, none of those entities put in for any funding, but the budget committee, in order to keep the topic going, instead of letting it just die, put in funding for at least one organization. That ended up passing, but the county commissioners have again said they are not going to cut that check. So that money will end up in surplus. But what came out of those discussions was the commissioners tasking the county manager with taking the initiative to find out from the communities as a whole if there's an interest in funding those organizations through county or not. That's what prompted this survey that we got, but I think they've set it up, Wells puts it very well in theirs, they set it up for failure, because there's already some communities that do not fund external agencies. They don't want to do it through county, nor do they want to do it through their own budgetary process. So of 29 towns, at least one is going to say no. So that means that the county commissioners get their way, in that there's no funding for external agencies, and it won't matter if the majority of communities say, yes, we want you to do it.
So I think I think Jonathan Carter was pretty specific in the Wells response. I think Alfred's response was pretty pointed as well, that not quite sure why it's an all in or all out. But that's the way they approached it. I guess all we can do is vote on how we approached it, which we did last week. Anything else, David?
No, that's.
John, you have anything?
Just wanted to say thank you to those people that came out for town meeting. Nancy, how many voters did we end up having in total?
I think there was 76, 77 that voted on the override. So that would have been, yeah, I think it was.
Thank
in the
you for
70s.
those people that, took some time out of their Saturday morning and, came out for town meeting.
Put it on my sheet.
I did attend the Ecomaine annual meeting last Thursday. Went very well. There was a presentation by an economics professor up from Orono, who has done a lot of work on the cost and the impact and the benefit of waste energy facilities in the state of Maine. Very well done. I think the meeting went very well, and the big news of Ecomaine for those folks that have been around and associated with it since the days of regional waste and now Ecomaine, as of August, there will be no debt in that organization. So, which 23, 25 years ago when we signed $80 million worth of debt, that was with the payments over those years. I don't think anybody envisioned that thing ever getting paid off. But so that went very well, and I think there is some concern for those of you that might have read in the local papers. Casella is moving forward with their transfer station on Outer Congress Street, or 22 or County Road, however you want to say it. That they will, and it will be located just a few miles from where Ecomaine is. The intent is once they shut down Biddeford, they will have a transfer station there that will sort everything. All the rubbish will come in. It'll go through a sorting process and break out the recyclables and everything else. And their intent is, I believe, is to landfill that product that has to be disposed of.
Now, are they gonna haul that to Old Town?
I don't know. They're talking 1,000 tons a day. Ecomaine handles 500 ton a day. So, some interesting developments in the waste business, I guess.
It's kind of surprising that actually retiring that debt without new debt, because especially in that area, nature abhors a vacuum, and it usually tend to but I wonder how long we can keep it open.
There'll be some concern. The board has approved up to a $20 million fund be developed, and the assessments, I think they've dropped to, ours has dropped to $150,000 this year, and it will remain that for the next 5 years, even though the debt's gone. And the reason for that is that will start to build the fund. So, okay. Anything else from the board? Town administrator.
Been starting to put the approved budget into Trio, so that'll be all ready as of July 1st. I did send a memo, and I CC'd it to the Board of Selectmen to let the department head know that even though the budget was approved and it starts July 1st, does not mean all the funds are going to be available. We've got $362,000 out of for CIPs that's coming out of taxation, and another $2 million. So that really isn't going to be available until the tax bills go out. So I did ask them to prioritize and to give to submit it to the selectmen for them to review at their July 10th meeting.
Yeah, because there's gonna have to be some management of cash flow here, right?
Correct.
Even though it's been approved, it's not been approved to spend in the first 12% of the new
Right.
year.
And a lot of that is out of the taxation, which we will not have.
Now, have we been in touch with the accountants? I mean, do we need to, have they done what they're supposed to do?
I gotta call him and have him come back. I think he was talking about coming to in the last of June, if I'm not sure, because he was gonna show Christina how to put the accruals. This year, the accruals will be put in this year 12 in their expenses, so it will not show year 13 starting July 1st. It won't even show in the reports. Everything's going to be, if it's a telephone or whatever, it will be in this current year expense, and then everything, it'll hit the GL, and then they will adjust it out.
So we won't be, by mid-year, chasing accruals because they haven't been, a journal entry hasn't been
Correct.
issued.
Correct.
Even though they'll be book kept, they're gonna be book kept for 12, not into 13.
Right. None of the accruals are going to show it in 13.
Good.
Good.
Anything else, Nancy?
No, that's...
Okay, new business. Discuss a vote to cancel the July 3rd Board of Selectmen's meeting. What is your pleasure?
So moved.
Sounds like a great idea. Second.
So we need to come in and just
Amy?
sign
Yeah.
payroll?
That's right, we would have to come in to assign at least 2.
Well, we was discussing that today, and I think what we are going to do is have payroll due by noontime on June 29th,
Yeah.
and have it ready. She's going to run the checks on the 2nd, so it can either come in the 2nd or the 3rd to sign it.
Okay. So we will at least have a majority of the board will have to come in and sign the warrant, the payroll warrants, right? Okay, it's been moved and seconded to not schedule a meeting for July 3rd. All those in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Review of results of election and annual town meeting. Where would you like to start?
I think it went pretty smooth. Gee, I remember the old days when you get out of there at 4:30, 5 o'clock, you know. And now I miss some of that because you had dinner with, you had lunch with people that it was fun to get together with.
Used to have-
But
used to have lunch with Charlie.
yeah, Charlie.
For the rest of the service.
Yeah.
The hot dogs with the mustard.
But you know, I just thought it went pretty smoothly. The thing that I really like is the people showing respect for each other, and some differences in opinion, but people were very open to listening and not putting anybody down. So it was a very respectful meeting.
Well, it's nice to listen to the talk and people asking questions, and it helps understand the whole situation. And it's interesting how different people think, you know, and then how people process all what's said, and they come to a decision, which you can't do if you don't have that type of assembly, you know.
And I know the budget, it was really hard to swallow that much of an override, but I think we're going to be able to take care of a lot of things this next year that really needed our infrastructure, our buildings, roads, that once everything is up, we can then start maintaining it on a annual basis instead of saying, the problem that we've been having, oh, we'll cut it off this year because of budgeting, and it just stacked up.
Interesting that the largest discussed points were on department budgets that affected people and not road, transfer station, or fire departments that really just represented huge, well, transfer station didn't represent a huge increase, but that affected public safety and infrastructure, because I think that most everybody sitting there understands that you can't neglect roads for how many years without some impact. So, and it was went through relatively. I mean, when all was said and done, when's the last town meeting that we've had that we haven't had half, 3/4 of an hour discussion on roads? And I don't think there was any discussion.
No.
You know, I think on that, the communication from the road review committee and the commissioner, we were getting almost weekly communication from the road commissioner, and pictures of the roads, just real good information. The road review committee has been talking about the needs. It's been kind of rehashed now for a year or 2 years, and people are hearing the same thing. So when it really kind of came down, I think people were ready for it, and it was a big increase, and it just went right through.
I think the venue was very good. You know, it was nice that they left the air conditioning on so that it was, you know, temperature was comfortable. I think the one hinky piece was the sound was a problem.
Yeah.
As far as, you know, I think when we finally got somebody to turn, and maybe David, we can kind of just put that on the tick list for next year, something to kind of consider. The audio wasn't that great. I really struggled at some points to hear some people and understand what they were saying, especially when they were talking and had their back to us.
Yeah.
So that was, you know, the one thing that I felt we really need to address next year, because it's really important to be able to hear everybody and make sure that the audio is working and whatnot.
Dave, is it possible to have a portable mic that, granted, somebody would have to keep it, but at least, rather than having people jump up and walk into the front of the room, we could have at least somebody, you know, even if we had some of the folks from the high school communications department or something that, you know, high school kids, you know, carrying a couple of mics around to give to people so that they could sit where they're sitting and be heard. That might, because a lot of people won't say anything because if they got to walk up to that microphone.
Yeah.
So,
And if we have an amplifier that is up on stage too, so we can hear, like you say, your people are back and turned to us. I have a hearing problem anyway, so I'm getting about 20% of what's being said there. And if you guys are having a hard time hearing, then I'm really in tough shape. So we got maybe a little bit better system of amplification.
I think the handouts that Nancy and Christina put together were great.
Yeah.
You know, there was a lot of information there for people to really look at and have the information right in front of them. I like that quite a bit too.
the only thing that I would suggest, and maybe and this kind of goes to the town clerk, all right? Even though she can't control it, other than I think in the future, we need to have a couple of sidewalk signs or bigger signs that can go out at the entrances that say vote or whatever the case may be, because people they only have those little teeny things, right? And there's a couple of, I think Buxton has a big one, and was it Gorham? I think Gorham had one as well. That, I mean, it's not a 4x8, but it's fairly significant. When you drive by, you know that, hey, that's where you vote today. I mean, because it caught your attention. So I just noticed, even at the day of town meeting, I know you kind of made them over, but I mean, if you're not looking at the driveway, right, when you drive by, you don't notice that. And unfortunately, that the school doesn't have a changeable letter sign or anything out there where you can expose it. So I think maybe we ought to take that under, scrutiny over the next few months and say, hey, when we're gonna vote down at that location, we need something that says, hey, this is where you're voting today, that catches everybody's eye.
Do you hear that, Pete?
On it.
I don't know why you addressed me, we should not use it.
Well, I mean, ultimately, it's a town.
It's been brought up a
Yeah.
couple of times. People have said, we didn't see the sign until we were, 50 miles an hour.
Well, that's true, and they do 50 miles an hour on Route 5, there's no doubt about that, and on the old Alfred Road. So,
Get
But
a
I think
deputy out there.
I think overall it went probably as well as could be expected, and even though I couldn't see anybody, because there was this big curtain in front of me on the stage,
I think that bringing the tables up a little bit closer would have alleviated that.
well, then you
Peter and I had
have to worry of somebody stepping off the end of the...
to be there.
I think the next piece is gonna be when the tax bills go out and people realize what the tax increase is. I mean, it's sad that we had, 1% of the community there to decide on a $4 million budget that's gonna significantly increase taxes. What is it you say? Significant emotional events. Some of them are gonna
It will be
have
a significant
have that when they open
emotional
their
event
tax-
when they open up their tax.
tax bills, so, and we talk about that every year, about how low turnout is and how do you address it, and I guess it's one of those things we're never really gonna be able to fix.
Well, it's interesting because I think there's more and more communities that are moving towards referendum voting. They're having public hearings or public discussions relative to, almost similar to what the RSUs are doing. And I know, talking to some of the folks out of Hollis's town office the other day, that they have a public hearing and everything, but the day of the vote, they vote everything, and they publish their warrant in the Smart Shopper, as most everybody saw it. But I think they had one line item that got defeated or something. But you lose that ability, as David said, to have that discussion on the townhouse floor of the pros, the cons, and everything else. Even though it's 1%, it's at least a discussion. It's probably more than you'd have at the public hearing.
For me, it would be a sad time if and when the town meeting is replaced by referendum voting. And I realize you might get 1,000 or so referendum votes or 1,500, but the quality of going into town meeting, and especially when there were more people there, and sometimes it was in March when people had had a long winter and they'd kind of come out for the first time in about 3 months, and there'd be some really bizarre stuff said, and on both sides of an issue. But when it came down, always it seemed there was a very logical vote. And so you see some people on both sides of a discussion, but usually when people discuss it, there's a good decision made.
All right, anything else? Yvette, I see you came in, we kind of blew through all of the reports quickly, but I'll back up if you'd like to give a town clerk's report.
Short and sweet. I was going to talk about the elections too. Dave and I had already talked about the mic system. I did bring to Dave's attention the 3 town meetings that I went to just to observe and see what's going on, what are they doing. 2 of them had portable mics, and they had Boy Scouts going around because they have to shut them off.
Yep.
So that made people talk more because they could stand up and talk from there instead of coming up front. So we did talk about that a little bit. We did talk about the speaker system. Sounds like you guys have already hit all the high points. I too thought the election went really well. Again, the turnout felt like we could have seen more people. I'm not sure if more advertising would have helped. A bigger sign, like you just said, something to bring the people out. I do want to take a minute to thank all the people that helped me on Tuesday the 12th with elections. Did you go over the results?
Nope.
Okay, so I will go over quickly the results for the people that didn't go to the town meeting or come to the election. But we had Gordon Littlefield with 442 votes as Selectman, Overseer of the Poor, and Assessor. We had David Benton Jr. for the Water District. He had a total of 219 votes.
On the RSU 57 budget validation, there were 273 yeses and 223 noes. And for the RSU Board of Directors, Heather Silver had 427 votes. Felt like we had a really good turnout on election day. We had over 440 voters that participated. We did have some issues in the evening with the voting machine, but that was resolved after a little bit of finagling. We didn't end up hand counting. We were able to use the machine. But for everyone that came out and helped, Amy, Judith and James, the whole crew, they were really fantastic, especially at night when we ran into some hitting issues. We were able to pull it off. The only issues I've got going on right now is I'm working this week with Wade to finish up our dog list. We still have 372 dogs that are not licensed in this town. We do have 734 dogs that are licensed. So that's the pinch hit for this week, is to jump right onto the dog licensing and see what we can do. He's gotten a list a week or two ago and started calling. He's going to come in, we're going to talk about the list, find out where he is, and start making phone calls again. So anybody out there that has a dog that's not licensed, we'd appreciate it if you come in and get them licensed. Any questions?
So how many absentee ballots were there? Are you allowed?
48.
48.
Well, it's interesting, I think we knew going in from a municipal election, there was no one running against anybody, so that's not going to bring any kind of a turnout. The disappointing thing in my mind is that the primary votes for the U.S. Senate race on both sides and in the U.S. congressional seat 1, congressional seat 1, that didn't stimulate any interest. I mean, we would get, if there was no state ballot, we'd have got 400 votes locally. So I'm not sure what that sends for, and sometimes primaries are a little bit down anyway, because everybody knows, well, we're going to vote again in November. But the fact of the matter is, there's not a lot of excitement for what's going to happen here in November, although the presidential election will change that. But it was a little disheartening to see what little interest there was in who was going to represent each party for Olympia Snow seat.
You read in the paper beforehand the issues and how people are voting on issues from both parties, and it's just so. It just seems that all the Democratic candidates, almost all of them, voting the same way, and all the Republican candidates are voting the same way, which is different from the Democratic candidates. So you kind of look and say, gee, everybody's alike in the Democrats, everybody's alike in the Republicans, so why vote in the primary? You don't get a feeling of differences in people in each one of those parties. It's the party way, and so I personally found that kind of discouraging, and I wasn't excited about voting for senatorial candidate at this level.
Okay, anything else? Thank you, Yvette.
Thank you.
Moving right along. Discuss vote to approve a request to dispose of the old roofing material from the Grange Hall at the transfer station at no cost.
So moved.
Yeah. Second.
Any discussion?
I think maybe we should tell why there was no cost.
Yeah. For one thing, the roof is being donated by Victor Wright, and the Grange Hall is I think a valuable community asset that.
Which is now on the National Register
Yeah.
of Historical Places.
And it's a volunteer effort. It's a great volunteer effort, right from the parking lot to the painting inside. It's all done volunteer.
Anything else? All those in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Discuss the vote to close the transfer station on July 4th.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Moved and seconded to close the transfer station on July 4th. All those in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. No old business. Other warrants and bills for payroll, and entertain a motion to
So moved.
approve. Need a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Motion, I'd entertain a motion to approve the minutes of the 6/5/2012 and the 6/12/2012 regular meetings.
So moved.
Could we take those individually? I can vote on one of them, I can't the other.
Right. So let's do the 6/5.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion on the 6/5 meeting? All those in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. 6/12.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion on the 6/12 minutes? Sensing none, all those in favor? Opposed? And one abstention. So, 301. Pending decisions, stop me if you have something that you want to add, but the public service announcements, review of the driveway opening permits, board and committee status, water district office space, nobody said internet and electronic mail policy, barriers to prohibit vehicles from driving on the beach,
That appears it's been,
and the sale of town property, map 1, lot 22. Have we progressed at all with that, or are we just with everything last week?
Yeah, with everything last week. I got the package to go out to.
Okay?
And one other thing is we gotta put the personnel policy.
Yes. That should be on here too, right?
Yes, because that, a lot of that, if it gets amended, will start July 1st.
So the week actions list. Well, we didn't have anything other than on the agenda. We've got to add a couple of line items, I would presume, for
Community garden.
the community gardens. One for the endorsement of and appointment of the committee, and one for the use of the property. Anything else for agenda items? I'm sure Gordon will come up with something. Items needing signatures, warrants and bills for payroll, and minutes of the 6/5 and 6/12 meeting, and also the abatement book for Jerry. Let me go through the reminders quickly. Wednesday, June 20th, 5 p.m., the 2020 Master Planning Committee. Just take 2 seconds. I thought what was presented by the Conway School at town meeting was thought-provoking and very professional, and it'll be exciting to see how that continues to move forward. Planning board meeting, June 20th, tomorrow night, 7 p.m. here.
That's with the selectmen, right? Yes, no?
I thought that's,
I didn't think so.
they're doing a site review, I think.
Oh, okay.
Hang on.
Or maybe the 20, no?
Is it next week?
26?
Hang on, there's a site plan review, there's Alden Pines. I don't see anything that says the selectmen on their agenda,
Okay,
okay?
That's supposed to be on June 27th.
okay.
So
Thank you.
so they've got back-to-back meetings,
Apparently.
okay?
And I think that was a tentative date that they gave us.
Okay, Thursday, June 21st, 7 p.m., Charter Review Commission, public hearing. Is that in this hall? Okay,
The 27th?
no, 21st. Thursday, 21st. Saturday, June 23rd at 8:30 a.m. at the Old Town Hall, the ever-popular cribbage tournament. Monday, June 25th, 6:30 p.m., Transfer Station Recycling Committee in the Old Town Hall. In this room, same time at 6:30, there's the 12 Town Group meeting. Next week, starting at 5:30, Selectmen's meeting, there's a 5:30 executive session. to review GA cases and input, and the 6 o'clock meeting is the regular meeting. Reporting will be the fire department, EMA. Thursday, June 28th, senior luncheon at the Snowmobile Club at 11:30. Thursday, June 28th, at 6:30 p.m., the Waterboro Library Board of Trustees will be meeting at the library. June 28th, Thursday, at 6:30 p.m., Old Home Days Committee will be meeting in the Old Town Hall. Monday, July 2nd, 7 p.m., Charter Review Commission at the Old Town Hall, and the Tuesday, July 3rd, Selectmen's meeting has been canceled. Anything else that I might have missed? Then I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor? Opposed? Thank you and good night.